Hello, fourth graders. As you can tell by looking at this screen, we're going to be talking about sandwiches today. Psych! We're going to talk about line plots a little bit. And line plots are important in math because they can really help to show our data in an organized way. So, a lot of times we'll get information and we can't control how that comes to us, but we can control how it looks. So, using these fractions and mixed numbers, we're going to take a look quickly at the snow totals from February 1st to February 14th. Now, this is all just made up stuff, so if you go look back at the almanac, don't say nasty things on Twitter about me. But anyway, I would have changed on the bottom where it says snow totals from February 1st to February 14th. I would have put that on the top, but I already had my giant title of line plots there. So that's not the case. And then on the bottom, what usually happens is, or what always happens, is your units. So in this case, it's going to be inches. So we're going to gather up how many inches of snow we've had from February 1st to the 14th, and then we're going to look at it in a very organized way. So a couple things to point out. Number one, you can see that all the x's are within the range that we have. It's very important that your low number and your high number are low and high enough that everything else is in between. We wouldn't want 4 as our high and then to have like a 5.5 inch data point. We just wouldn't want that. So you want everything contained. The other thing to point out is all the x's are roughly the same size, the best that I could. So that's key because then our data looks like it's supposed to. If the 3 x's in the 1.5, let's say, were really huge, they would look more than the 4 x's would in the 3-inch column, let's say. So you want to be neat and organized and have your titles and your labels where they're supposed to be. So again, now we can tell all the inches on from February 1st to the 14th. We can't tell which day it is, but we know that there was one day where it was half an inch. We know that there was 3 days with 1.5 and 4 days with 3 inches. So we can tell certain things, but we can't tell which day it actually happened. Maybe that's irrelevant. Maybe we don't need to know that. Maybe we do. Now, I'm going to go to the next slide. And what if we have certain points that we have to plot? What's our next step? I'm glad you asked. We're going to look at the denominators first. So I look and I see, oh my gosh, it's like a run on 4s. And then I have this oddball of a 2 in here. Now you can't take the 2 and decide I'm going to make everything go by halves with a 2 at the bottom. Wouldn't make sense. So you need to take the biggest of your denominators, which is actually the smaller of the increments, and you're going to go by fourths. So I'm going to start with 0, and then my next is going to be 1/4, 2/4. Everyone says that's also a half. I say that too. 3/4, 4/4, same as 1. 1 and 1/4, 1 and 2/4, 1 and 3/4, and 1 and 4/4 is the same as 2. Who knows what we're talking about? Could be inches, could be miles, could be anything, really. But the point is, I have my line set. Okay, the correct increments, or intervals, whatever you want to say, and now I just need to plot the points. When we get the information, like I said before, it can come at us not in order. So if you want to put everything in order, that's great, that's fine. I just choose to go and take it fraction by fraction or mixed number by mixed number and start to plot them. So I'm going to start at 1/4 and I'm putting the check mark to know that I've done it. I'm going to make my x the same size every single time. 3/4. 1/2. I don't see 1/2, but I know that 1/2 is the same as 2/4. 1 1/4. 1 3/4. 1/4. Put it right on top of it. And lastly, 1 1/4. So my x's are all pretty much the same size. And now I can take those pieces of information, those data points, and I can make them look a little more organized and in order like this. So I can answer any questions that somebody might give me. Which was the highest amount? Which was the lowest amount? Which didn't have any data points to go with it? Which ones had 1 to go with it? So I could answer all the questions because I put the x's where they're supposed to go. Now, the next slide, I counted them before and there's 18 data points. So I'm going to have 18 x's somewhere on my line. I have made the line for you. I've made the intervals for you at 1/5, and all you have to do is put the x's where they need to go. I'll show you what I mean. So we have 2 1/5, right? I'm going to find where 2 1/5 is on the number line, and I'm going to put an x right at 2 1/5. And again, there might be other 2 1/5 lurking, but I'm not going to go search them out yet. I'm just going to let the cards fall as they may, and then at the end, I'll be able to check how many there were. So I can go through it very systematically. My next one is 2 2/5. Okay, so a similar size x. And then 1 3/5. And then I keep going until I get 18 x's and I've got all those check marks taken care of, right? But I'm going to erase all that stuff to let you guys have the fun. And your job is to take a screenshot of this, and then you will post it into one of the assignments I have for Dojo. So a screenshot of this, and then questions on the next page to follow. So if you didn't screenshot it, do so now, and then I'll meet you at the next page. All right, I'm here at the next page. You're also going to take a screenshot of this and put it in Dojo. So I'll have 2 assignments for you today, but they're going to be shorties, so that's good. Based on the following page, or the previous page, I'm sorry, there's nothing on the following page, you're going to answer the following questions. What's the high fraction minus the low fraction? So you'll put that where the number 1 is. You're going to add the 2 mixed numbers that have the most x's above them. If there's one that's a tie, why don't you get wild and add that along with it? Okay. I probably should have checked for that. And then lastly, you're going to add the highest fraction and the lowest fraction. So where's your leftmost x and your rightmost x? And then you're going to add those 2 up as well. What I highlighted in yellow was to take a screenshot of this page and the one where you made all the x's. And then you'll take those 2 pictures. So it's going to be 2 separate things to turn into Dojo on this day. And then also you're going to be ready for the quiz tomorrow. And remember, the quiz will have a couple of questions like this and adding and subtracting mixed numbers. If you have any questions, you know where to turn. And I wish you luck, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.